Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to 2A News Now, and I really appreciate you taking your time tuning into my video. On March 20th, I made a video about the ATF coming to my house a couple of years ago and accusing me of selling firearms for a profit without a license. And after that happened a couple of years ago, I made a part 1 and part 2 about what happened to me. But in March, I got over 5,500 new subscribers and picked up a lot during the past year. Most of the time when people subscribe to the channel, they don't go back and watch a lot of the older videos. So I made that video for the new subscribers. And that video that I posted on March 20th has now almost 300,000 views. And if you haven't watched that video yet, I'll put a link in the description below, and also I'll put a thumbnail at the end of this video so you can watch it. But if you haven't watched that video, you really need to watch that first before you watch this video. And this is like a part 2 of that video. A couple of things I left out, and the only reason I left them out was that first video was over 13 minutes long, and it would have made it even longer, and a lot of people hate to watch long videos. So after the ATF left my house, I went to go check my mail, and at the same time, my next door neighbor to the right of me was getting his mail, and whenever we see each other, we exchange pleasantries and sometimes talk a little bit. And he waved me over, and that's when I got a surprise when he asked me, "Did the ATF ever get a hold of you?" And probably it looked like my mouth just dropped right down to the ground. And I said, "Well, how did you know about that?" He says on Friday there was a knock on his door, and there was a man and a woman standing there. They both said that they were ATF agents and showed their credentials. And they asked him, since we were next door neighbors, by chance did they have a phone number for me because I wasn't at home. And he said no, he did not. So after that, they said thank you and turned around and started to walk away. And of course, most neighbors are kind of nosy, so that my neighbor asked him, "So what is this all about?" So instead of the ATF agent saying what he should have said, "Well, we can't talk about it," or "We can't say anything about it," he says, "We're the ATF. It's about guns." And I was just shocked that the ATF agent said that. But also it doesn't surprise me. And I didn't have to explain it to my next door neighbor, but I've known him for a long time. And I explained this situation that I sold a firearm legally at a gun show and it ended up in the hands of a felon. But then it gets even better. A couple of days after that, in the evening, I was out on the front lawn doing a little bit of lawn work. And my other neighbor to the left side of me was doing a little bit of work outside as well. And he comes over and he says, "Hey Troy, last Friday I almost called the police to your house." I said, "Why? What happened?" He told me he saw me leave earlier in the day. And like I said in my first video, I didn't get home until sometime after 6 o'clock after running errands and going to the grocery store. And that's when I found the card from the ATF on my door. But he said 2 vehicles pulled up in front of the house, parked in front of the house, but on the street, didn't come up in the driveway, which was empty. And a man and woman got out of the vehicles and went to my front door. And he could hear them knocking on the door very loud. And he said that went on for a good 5 minutes. He then said instead of them leaving, you know what they did? They went around the side of my house and went into my backyard. And I was just shocked. And he said once he saw them go towards the backyard, he went into his backyard, which we can see each other's backyards if you do go towards the back of the houses. And I had a big screened-in porch. And he said they were both at the screen porch trying to open up the door, which was of course locked. He said they also saw them peering into the screen porch like this because it was sunny outside. And he said they were there for a good 5 minutes. And one of the bedrooms on that back side is not covered by the screen porch. And there's glass sliding doors just open up to the outside to a little bit of cement there. And he said that they were knocking loudly on that door too as well. And he said after about 5 minutes of them knocking on that door and looking on the screen porch, they walked back around the side of the house to the front of the house and then got in their vehicles and left. And I forgot to mention, I have a large sign in my front lawn and on the front of my garage door that says no trespassing. And then also on the front door, I have a small no trespassing sign and no soliciting sign. They were there for a legitimate reason, so they say. But that doesn't give them the right to go around the back of my house, try to open up a door and stay on my property for 5 or 10 minutes and peering into my screen porch. I guess I'm lucky I didn't have a dog, or most likely that dog would have been shot and killed. But that just shows you how far the ATF will go, and it also shows that they have no regard for the law, that they think that they're above the law. So that's the 2 things I wanted to share with you guys that wasn't in the first video. I haven't had any contact with them again. For those that did watch the first video, I really appreciate all your support. I appreciate all the likes, shares, subscribes, and hitting those post notifications. Once again, thanks for everybody's support, and I hope to see you guys in my next video.